I'm just going to go in, and instead of doing my patterns with watercolor, I'm going to come back in and do it with black. Today we're doing bookmarks because who doesn't love a bookmark? But these are special because they're personalized bookmarks. And so I did them 3 different ways. They're a great group project. We have this one, super cute. And we have this one, another super cute one. And then I have this one where it's very cute, but also gives you a lesson in kind of blending colors and letting a spectrum happen. So this is really fun. We do all 3. So enjoy this video, have fun with it. It's a great group project, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, today we're gonna make 3 different personalized bookmarks. And so let me just show you how I am working out the layout of this. So I'm using graph paper, which if you have it, it's awesome. It's really easy to sketch on. These are 2 inches by 7 inches. This is just watercolor paper, whatever you got. This is a great way to use offcuts of watercolor paper. And so I know that the R is the middle letter for Sarah, so I started with putting a box in the middle and putting the R in the middle. I know that's the beginning. It's just like when I show you how to do stripes, we start in the middle and then work our way to either side. That's how I'm getting this spaced inside this little space. It's the easiest way that I have found to do that. So with Emily, the I is in the middle. We're gonna do a different cute little font. So we'll put the I there. And of course, you know, I love things being a little on the wonky side. So we have the illy part. And then we will put the M part. And that basically is spaced in between there. Okay, that's the easiest way to do it. Now, with Mary Ellen, my sister, the space is the center. So I made sure that I left a space here because her name is 2 letters. And then when I trace this, I'm gonna make these bubbly. So we'll make these bubble letters that will join up, okay? So that's how I did that. And, you know, in the case of Emily's, I'll probably add some flowers and just make it super cute as we go along. And we'll just play around with that when we get to the paint part. So I'm going to transfer these using my light box. And I've showed you how these worked before. But anyway, it's a really great way to trace onto your watercolor paper. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to speed up the film because you don't need to watch me trace things, but that's basically how I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to trace. Okay, this got a little funny, but when I draw it, I will make it work. I will. Okay, I promise. All right, so we're taking this away. Now I'm going to ink these. I'm going to ink them next, just because I feel like it. No reason. Sometimes I start with watercolor, sometimes I start with ink, and it doesn't really matter. You can do it any way you like. There are various reasons why I do that, and I explain in other videos. If it's more reliant on loose watercolor, I'll start with the watercolor. If it's more reliant on the drawing part, then I will start with ink. In this case, I just feel like starting with ink. The pen I'm using is a Pigma sketch brush. It's the same company that makes the microns that we hold near and dear to our hearts, but it is also, it's archival ink and it's waterproof because I will be putting watercolor on top of this. Okay, so I'm just gonna start drawing these. And, you know, I'm gonna start with this one because it's the most complicated. And I'm telling you, if I I screw it up, I'm just going to start over again. So what I like about this pen, before I get too far into this inking, is that it has, you can do kind of a thick or thin, depending on the pressure that you make on the mark, that you can go thick and thin on this. I kind of like it. It's a little bit chunky, which I think in this case is pretty cute for a bookmark. So I'm just going to start inking these, and hopefully it will all work out. I'm going to choke them up slightly. Who doesn't love a bubble letter? So that my spacing works pretty well. Now, some people would do much more complete measurements than I do. Okay, so I'm going to start the Ellen part a little bit higher. And choke these in so that I don't end up right at the end. L's are a funny thing to draw as bubble letters. And I'm going to move that N over there. Okay, that got a little weird down there, but that's all right. Okay, that's pretty cute. And when we paint this, this baby's going to sing. Okay, we're going to set that one aside. Now, on these squares, you could measure those if you wanted and make them very squarey. I'm going to basically kind of eyeball them as I go here. And there's going to be another thing I'm going to do with this one that's going to be add to the fun of it. Is I'm going to, I love the idea. I love this pen. It's not super delicate, but you could use any black marker or watercolor, waterproof black marker that you have. These are bookmarks. They're not masterpieces. No one's going to frame your bookmark. They're just going to, every time they see it and use it, they're going to think of you and go, that is so cute. And that is the response we're always looking for. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. You made that? When you hear that, honey, that is a good day. And again, whenever I do lettering, I always have to really think about, did I spell that correctly? Because for some reason, when cute lettering comes in, spelling goes out. All right, that's pretty cute. All right, and then the last one is Miss Emily. Oh, I told you I was going to do something else on the Sarah one, and I will show you as soon as I finish Emily here. This is a great group project. Really fun to do together. You can make them as gifts, be fun for a girlfriend's get-together. I have a group of high school friends that we still get together, and we often bring gifts, simple, fun little gifts, nothing expensive or outlandish, but these would be really fun to make. Okay, so what I was going to do on the Sarah one is I'm going to add a little shadow to the letters. I'm making them all, shadow goes all on one side. And this is just going to make it a little cuter. Okay, this is really cute. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I think I might put a shadow on each of the boxes too. Because why not? Just Just make it a little zingier. Have I ever mentioned how much I love drawing? Only in every single video. Making marks on paper is just it's my default setting. And just always remember, it's a piece of paper. You can always get another one. Okay, pretty cute. All right, so let's on Emily's, let's add some flowers. So I'm just gonna add a really basic, big chunky daisy. And a heart, maybe 2 hearts, another chunky daisy. And then just a couple of hearts down here. And let's do one more daisy. You know, I love my things in 3s. There. Okay. Very cute. Okay, so I'm going to erase these. And I'm using a plastic eraser, which is really handy to have on your table. And just get that pencil off of there. I like using a soft pencil. That was a number 2B. It doesn't matter what kind. I mean, this is the supplies on this one you probably have. And gentle erasing. Don't get too aggressive because things get... You don't want to disturb the texture of your paper by excessive erasing. And you know, you want to use a soft eraser, not like the pink ones that have too much grit in them, or something on the end of a pencil. Those just have too much grit and they really can kind of disturb the texture of your paper. You don't want your paintings ending up looking like your 3rd grade spelling test. Okay, cool. All right, off we go. Okay, we're gonna start painting these and they're gonna be super cute. I'm going to use a number 10 round brush. This happens to be a Princeton Velvet Touch. Very nice brush, not very expensive, will last you a very long time. The paints I'm going to use today were sent to me by a company called May Lang. They're a set of 24 watercolors. Lovely. There's a link in the description for these if you're interested. They may be out of the 24s at the time of this recording, but their paint sets are really nice. I know they come in kind of a kit with the 24s, so you're just gonna have to look at that. But you could do this project with markers, with colored pencils. I'm showing it with watercolor because, you know, I love watercolor. I'm gonna start with good old Sarah here, and I'm going to leave the letters white, and I'm going to paint the squares a color. And then we're going to come back and do some fun stuff. So make sure you come back at the end to see what we end up after this dries, what I'm going to do with Sarah here. What I'm going to do with Sarah. So I'm going to do a spectrum, and I'm going to start with pink. And let me tell you a little something about watercolors. Oh, the one thing I didn't do, which I'm supposed to do, is you need to spray your watercolors to get them going. Okay, there, I did that. All right, so here's what I know about watercolors. You don't need a ton of colors. You don't need to get a set of, even 36 feels excessive to me. And 48, I don't know what to do with all those colors, because you can make all kinds of colors with these colors. In fact, I need to do a video. I made a tiny palette with just the primaries to see how much I could do. So if that sounds interesting to you to see what I can do with just the primary colors, happy to do that. Just let me know in the comments. But a lot of these are what they call convenience colors. Like, just want a basic purple, you know, of course you can make that out of magenta and a blue, but here it is. So don't go overboard with how many colors you have, because you can make all the colors. Don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay in this pink in here, And like I said, it doesn't have to be, you can use markers. You know, you could use like a cardstock and do the same project with markers. And in fact, if you're working with younger kids, it may be the way to go. But this is a great way to practice your watercolor. Okay, so I'm going to go from a magenta to, let's go to a red. And I'm just going to continue to mix in here because I'm just going to make, there's a couple different reds in here, and I'm not testing this, but although I should. So here's my little tester. I already used the magenta to make sure that they're different enough, and so that's a nice red. Okay, so that's going to go red. And then we're going to do an orange. So I'm just going, all of these are going to be sort of spectrum based. That is already a nice warm red, but we're going to add some yellow to it. Just want it different enough. And whatever paints you have, you have enough to, whatever colors you have enough to make this project be super cute. All right. Oh, that's a nice orange. And then we're just going to make that way more yellow. And I had a little bit of that red on my brush, so this is a nice warm yellow. And from here, we'll go to a green. So we're basically just doing the spectrum here. So I'm going to come in and I don't know if I'm getting a good green here. Although that's kind of a cool green. I've never, yeah, I like that. And that was this yellow. Oh yes, I just contaminated that. That's a nice green. Okay, so we have just painted this. And I'm going to set that aside and dry, and we're going to come back to this one and cute it up. All right, let's bring in Emily. You know what? We're just going to go backwards here. So we're going to use that green here. This is such a fun project for, particularly when you're in the, what should I do today? Well, make some bookmarks. Always satisfying. Come in with this yellow. And I'll do my flowers while I'm here. So I'm basically doing the opposite of Sarah, but I could have done them at the same time had I been thinking about that, but I wasn't thinking about that. So now we'll go back to this gorgeous orange. That is really pretty. And to our red. And back to pink. I just, you know, there's a reason a spectrum is so lovely to paint. And the pink, okay. And I'm just jobbing off my brush off camera, so I'm gonna do some of these pink and some of these red. Well, that one came out really fast, but we're gonna come back and zhuzh that up a bit too. Then I need my red. The beauty of watercolor is you can let it dry and you can do more stuff on top. I love that. Okay, set her aside. Now, I'm going to clean this off. Take these away. We will be coming back, but there you go. Let's bring Mary Ellen in. Now, this one is going to be a little more juicy. So I'm going to mix up my colors. I'm going to start with purple. And I'm going to start to mix up some colors. Get some pools of color going because I want to be ready for my next color. So we go from purple to blue to a brighter blue. This they call sky blue. It's kind of a cerulean, and that's ultramarine. Give that a little more water. So I'm just setting these aside so that I can, and then from there I would go to a green. Okay, so that's enough to get me started. This I think is going to be a good one for a long name. So what I'm going to do is everything's going to, because these are connected, I'm going to let them talk to each other as we go through these paints. So I'm just going to get that on there. And I'm going to drag this purple just right into that next letter. Dab off my brush, come back with the blue, and let those two talk. Let them meet up as they, don't try to force that, but each time, so as this dries, it's just going to start mushing in together. So each time I'm just dragging it to the next letter. Clean off my brush, go to the next color. And we're just going to keep making this a spectrum. It's kind of the tie-dye technique that we have done in other videos. So I just keep dragging it along. And you need to move somewhat deliberately. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, even though we have a break here because it's a double name. Oh, you know, I should have done. Oh, I didn't. I should have waited to put that second green on there, because now I'm going to come in and get the rest of my spectrum. And I'm going to do a limier green. This is a really good lesson in how color works together. So as long as you stay, okay, so that got, it didn't get dry, but okay, so I'm going to keep that fairly wet. Oh, this is going to be cool. All right. And I'm going to go right into this limier, or this yellowy green. Okay, that did not change that much. Let's get a little more yellow in there. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you just keep dragging it to the next letter. And that's how we're getting this beautiful rainbow. So now I'm going to go to a more warm yellow. Let those all talk to each other. Bring it down to the next letter. Okay, I'm digging this, you guys. I mean, you could also do this the other direction, not have your letters stacked, but more in a stripe situation, or in a sideways situation. I guess that's called horizontal details. All right, this is making me happy. And now I'm just going to go in and make that more red. And we have just made the coolest, that's a little opaque. We've just made the coolest bookmark ever. Just saying, coolest bookmark ever. Okay. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. Isn't that cool? The only thing that got a little chunky was here, but that was user error. No biggie. Mary Ellen's going to love that. Okay. Okay, so with Emily, now that I have this other paint, and this is dry, I'm going to go in and start to add a little something to each one of these. So I'm just going to stripe this one. You see how I striped it? I started in the middle, and then my stripes work out. That's a beautiful thing. But I'm not going to do the same thing on every letter. I'm going to make sure that each letter has its a different little treatment. And let's get that red in there, that pink in there. And whenever you put, when your paint is dry and you come back with the same color, it's going to just be a little bit, it's called glazing when we put wet on top of dry. And that's a way to get things darker. is to wait for it to dry and then put another layer on top. If you feel like it was too wimpy or you need more contrast once you see your whole piece. Okay, that's pretty cute. And then let's see, let's get this brighter yellow in here. I'm gonna put a little bit of that orange in there. And let's do a vertical stripe. And here's the thing about a decent brush. See how thin I could get that stripe? Using the same brush that I am being able to do, you know, big wider chunks of paint, and then I'm able to get in there with that very thin stripe. Okay, on this one, I'm gonna make, let's do a thick diagonal. Again, I'm starting in the middle. And what started out cute just got extra cute. And we like to execute extra cute. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway. Okay, so that turned out really cute. I'm going to give a little more presence to this thing. And that just turned out so cute. Okay. As promised, I'm going back to Sarah. And I'm going to grab my pen again. And I've always loved this style where it's black and white but with color around it. So I'm just going to go in, and instead of doing my patterns with watercolor, I'm going to come back in and do it with black. It kind of gives a kind of a pop art kind of thing in a really cool way. So I'm just doing thin stripes here. And it totally gives a pop art look. Let's just do another letter inside the letter. That's kind of cool. And then let's do kind of a, I don't know what this is called. It was very an 80s kind of thing. Do you remember that pattern? Where it was just kind of these, it's almost like sprinkles. I always thought that was cool. And then on this one, let's do wide stripes. So I'm going to do a thicker stripe down the middle. This is where this thicker pen helps when you're doing bigger areas. Of black. I think that came out so cute. Now you could have put a black border around there if you wanted to, which might be really cute. And we have our 3 bookmarks. Three distinct bookmarks that did not take us very long to do. This is a fantastic group project. I encourage you to get your people around you and you all do fun bookmarks. Now, there's a lesson in all of these. One is how to do patterns, using black as your driver, and the color is just kind of supporting all of that. And then this painting, this is a really good exercising in blending colors. This is not great, the E, because I wasn't planning ahead far enough. I should have waited until I had these colors mixed up before I put that green on there, but I didn't. Learn from me. Learn from what I do. And so what I'll do is I'm going to laminate these and cut them out, and they're going to be lovely gifts. Next time I see Sarah, Mary Ellen, and Emily, I'm going to give them to them, and then everybody else is going to be sad. But hey, here you go. I hope you enjoy this project. I hope you enjoy hand lettering. I do. I will have my full hand lettering course out soon. That will be in the description when it's live. Or certainly jump on and send me your email and I'll let you know when that goes live. It should be very soon. Thank you for being here. I always so enjoy your comments, your lovely sentiments, and your humor. It's so great. And thank you so much for being here. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.